Well, first of all, welcome Nadine Gordon-Taylor. I mean, such a pleasure. You're an intuitive artist, you know, you're a channel, which I absolutely love. And of course, a worldwide celebrated author. First of all, how are you doing?
First of all, it's so lovely to meet you, and I am doing awesome today. Thank you.
Oh, that's what we love to hear. The energy's already flowing as well. But if we can, darling, you know, for people that may be, you know, coming across your work, you know, just kind of having a look at your cards right now, can we go back to your spiritual journey, kind of where it all began for you, if that's okay?
It's a bit of a long journey for a half an hour, but I'll try to reduce it down. I was an artist always, a little unusual as a child. I did have visitors that my mother thought I was making up. I was always visited and had company, and it was a little scary for me, but I just plugged away like everyone else. And the art eventually moved into the direction of a series I called Self-Portrait Minus Self, which was integrating my dark side or my shadow. And I did that for about 10 years. And I think everyone is clairaudient, but I am very clearly clairaudient. So I get information in my head. It's very hard to ignore it because it'll keep repeating. And so it told me I should go back to the way I used to draw and paint when I was a young child, which was very intuitively, not going by outside sources. And so I started this series for my family, and I didn't know I would be doing what I'm doing. I just got images, and the next thing I know, I was told to write down what they meant. And so my first page turned into a second page, and then to 5 pages, and then to 12 pages. So whenever I do a commission for someone, it comes with about, 7 to 12 pages. And I have a feeling the more I learn, the longer it will get. So it led me to this. And then I have a little shop here in Peekskill, New York, and USA. And people would come into my shop and look at me and go, "Don't you think you should do an oracle deck with these? Don't you think you should make a tarot deck?" And it kept happening until I finally agreed. Once I agreed, I self-published my first deck. And the next thing I know, Higher Source took me to Inner Traditions Bearing Company, and they published my Heart Path Oracle cards. And then they published my Animal Love Oracle cards. And it's all a journey from Higher Source.
It's so beautiful. I mean, I think, so many people that are here and, the journey when people start and, it often starts as a child. But I always think, when we are children and we're just growing up, there's no external sources coming in. So we are just pure completely. And it's when we grow up, isn't it? And the world kind of seeps in where, we lose that. But it's so beautiful to hear for you. It went full circle and you went straight back to it.
Yes, I had to actually unlearn a lot of my training. And I don't mean my technical training. I mean, there were so many rules in art and art education. And I was a teacher for 32 years in art. And I tried desperately not to do that to my students. Yes, you have to learn technique, but the whole joy of manifesting and creating, there's no rules to that.
There isn't, is there? There really, really isn't. It is university. I would say it's like our playground to make it whatever we want it to be. It's our, divine right, which is so lovely. Well, I know you mentioned it at the beginning there, but we've got to talk about Animal Love Oracle. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, first of all, how proud are you of this deck?
Oh my God, I'm so excited when I got it. I can't tell you. I actually take it to bed with me at night.
I love that. A lot of people do say, to get your energy around the cards, put it under your pillow so it fuses with your energy. So that's right.
I do that. Even though I created my decks, I still pull a card every day, at least one card every day. And I listen to it. And it's amazing how your higher self, no matter what card you pick. I mean, I try to explain that to people that come in for readings, that they think, oh, should I shuffle it a certain way? And I do want to just make one little note about that. They are large cards, and a couple of people that reviewed them, see, they're pretty large cards, and they went, oh, it's so difficult to shuffle. And it really isn't. They're silly. They're trying to do it like this, turn it like this, and it's so easy to shuffle. And you can also shuffle it this way, that way. But I did ask the publisher to make them slightly larger because of the artwork.
So you
And
can
most of
see
my art.
them. No, I love that they're larger. I mean, I think that's one of the positive benefits of them because you can actually see what the picture is. And I think there's so many cards when you kind of, I'm trying to make it out and you can't see because of the smallest cards I've got are about that big. So,
Yeah.
they're really small, but with yours, I think, with the artwork, and I love, that you've put, I mean, there's the fish one, which is beautiful. But I love how, you've put obviously what it is and a brief description, but, for me, it's what you pick up intuitively from the deck, the colors, you really go in depth there, but you can really see it. So, don't listen to them. No, no, they're perfect the way they are. They're meant to be how they're meant to be. It's as simple as that. It is.
That's thank you. And that's what I tell the people who come in to pick, whether you shuffle it, I mean, whether it falls on the floor, whether you do nothing and just pull a card, you always get the right card.
Oh, I love it. I love your energy as well. I really do. So could you let us in how this deck became to be?
It's fascinating. While I was teaching, and I taught every day, regular, high school, public school job, I taught printmaking, and I had a lot of demo sheets of paper laying around with all kind of colors on it, and I would see things in them. So I would take the scrap paper that anyone else would have thrown away, said, I think I'm going to add a monkey to that, or I think I'm going to add a wolf to that, and during my free period, not during my classes. And I started to get a collection. I'm an artist, I'm a fine artist. I have a shop here, I sell artwork. I never thought about creating oracle decks in the beginning. So the reason why there are vertical and horizontal images in this deck is because they weren't created for an oracle deck. They were just me being an artist, using my scraps of paper, envisioning things on it. And it was actually exciting. Sometimes I would just throw paint on a scrap piece of paper and think of an animal, and the form would start to take shape. So it was kind of exciting. But I also want to encourage people who are listening that when you're doing something creative, don't always try to make it look like what's come before. Rules are meant to be broken because we're in an evolutionary process, and what was good for even yesterday, 10 years ago, 100 years ago, is outdated for today. So I actually didn't think a publisher would pick these up because they were not like the other decks. And I was very excited that Bear & Company actually did. And some people love it, but some people don't like that, the horizontal and vertical. But as I said, I was led to do this. So you asked me how. This was just artwork that I created, and I loved animals. And little by little, I just got more and more images. And then people come into my shop and they say, I wish I had a cow, or I wish I had, and I keep adding and adding and adding. And the next thing I know, when I got the Heart Path Oracle deck published, they said they would like to publish this.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I'm so glad because for me, it's a completely unique deck. There's so many decks out there, but how you put it together from the colors, the images, everything on there, you're saying, landscape or portrait, but it adds to the character of the deck. And I think, it changes it, but then that changes the energy again. So, I mean, they're just absolutely perfect. They really, really are. And I have pulled one every single day because it was such a surprise. Didn't expect them. Didn't think I'd be interviewing you today. So, it's just beautiful the way that this has happened. So for people that are listening, watching, what is the best way that we can connect, with your cards, Nadine?
Well, just ask your higher self whenever you're going to start with the deck. Just say, for the highest and best good, what's my message for today? You can get a little more specific, but it will always answer whatever you energetically are connected to. So if your heart, mind, soul, whatever, is into hearing the highest and best message for the day, that's what we'll get. And the messages are a little wordy. I didn't know how much I like to write at the beginning. So you will hear something that resonates with you. And what I like to suggest, if you really want to get a lot out of the book, is to either, if you don't mind wrecking it, to highlight or underline, or to Xerox it or scan it, and to read it over and underline that which resonates with you at that moment. That you are meant to hear that then. And then you read it again a second time later, and then you underline the next and you read again, because sometimes you're not ready to hear something. you know, and it comes in increments. When you're ready, it will, you know, it will appear. So you may read something and not even see it until you read it the second or third time. And some people like to just look at the card, you know, just look at the card and not do anything yet. Just look at it. The words on the bottom with the wolf, it says collaboration, rituals, and generous teacher. I'm clairaudient, and so I'm guided. I know it's the right word when I hear, yep, that's it, stop. So I do research. I am a researcher. I have a doctorate. I'm intuitive, but I blend the two together. So I've researched pretty much every culture, and I go into the science. I research the animal too, and then I pull out what feels heart-based. I only publish things that are constructive. I don't see the point in saying anything negative, because if what you put your attention to manifests, why would I want you to manifest anything negative? It's all vibrations, it's all quantum. So maybe you do have a problem with something. Well, the idea is not to focus on it, it's to focus on that which you want. So if you want to be healed, you focus on the healing, not on the illness. I know there's all different philosophies about it, but this isn't about judgment, strictly quantum. It's energetic.
It really is. It really, really is. And lovely to hear as well. You know, I'm totally there with you. You know, you're saying there, you know, about the healing. And of course, animals are extremely healing, you know, to us all. And that energy is just so, so beautiful. So I love, you know, you put the animals on the cards. So how can we tap in, you know, to that energy, you know, every single day, you know, with the cards, but can we meditate with the cards? You know, can it go further than just a reading? Because the energy, you know, when you just look, I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful cards, but there's a lot of energy to these cards. So how can we utilize that?
Well, what I also did was put 3 affirmations in, and those affirmations come from the animals. I mean, from me studying, reading, thinking, meditating, and I've created those affirmations, and those to me are energetic links to that animal. So I feel that those are things that need to be repeated throughout the day, because repetition is what reprograms the mind. It is. It's how you learned in the first place. So if you pull that particular animal card, or there are 2 wild cards in here because they're fictional, although I'm not sure mermaids and unicorns are fictional, but they are the wild cards because they have a lot of beautiful energy. But I think those, to answer that question, I think it's really important that you listen to the animals' affirmation, because animals are in the moment, you know, and they have qualities. They don't sit and think about their qualities, they just are them. And what we admire about that, you know, throughout the beginning of time, we've used them as totems and guides and journeying, and they have an energy that we humans attract because we need to learn that.
Yeah, totally, totally. Beautiful to see as well from, you know, the animals. I was saying before, you know, we come on here, you know, about my dog Bert, you know, he's just there as well. Someone just come in, so he's like that at the door. I'm like, just, Daddy's on an interview. But, you know, their energy is so beautiful, and it just always fills my heart with, you know, so much love. It really, really does. And then, so what do you love most about channeling, you know, the animals, the energy, you know, what's that like for you?
It is, I can only say it comes from my heart. It warms my heart. I feel I'm a very different person than I was many years ago. From these cards, from the animals, the lessons that I've learned, and through my own repetition, I have become, there's no such thing as victimhood anymore, you know, and if there is such a thing as negativity, it doesn't last very long. I can shift very easily out. I mean, animals do feel stress. It's not that they don't, but they can get past it very quickly. They shake it off and then they move on. And I think that's the main thing that's helped me over these years with these cards, because even my Heart Path Oracle deck is animals and nature. And that's definitely taught me to not hold on to anything negative. You know, learn from it, let it go, you know, embrace it, integrate it, let it go, and move on.
Beautiful. I need to get my hands on your other deck as well, because, you know, I'm connected with these so much. You know, if we could pass through the screen, you know, that would just be absolutely epic, wouldn't it? I would absolutely love that.
Ask Manzanita for a deck. She'll give you one.
We will, definitely will. And also as well, you know, you talk about, you know, the symbolic connection between animals and humans, don't you? I mean, that's, you know, so strong as well. But you do a lot of symbolic work as well, don't you?
Yes, and I want to remind you that's a very good point. I wouldn't walk up to a lion and go really close and hug it because it has such beautiful leadership energy. It's all symbolic. You know, you have to be very careful not to
You've
think
got to be
that.
careful because there will be.
Yes, the symbolism is, that's how we speak, you know, the unconscious and symbols. Again, I don't think anything's random. I don't believe in coincidences. And so when I first started working with this energy, I would get the most incredible things. I had two dogs too. They passed on. And when I would walk them, I remember one day a skunk went by. Okay. And then we're walking further and another skunk went by, and we're walking further and another skunk went by. And I went, wait, that's not normal. Okay, I'm going to check out that energy. And it started like that from the very beginning. People started giving me dragonfly presents, which I didn't collect. And the next thing I knew, wherever I went, I got dragonfly, and I kept going, okay, I got to figure this out. And then I would start the next thing, and I would be given roosters, and I'd come into the shop here, and there's a cafe, and there'd be 3 rooster paintings on the wall. I see, it really goes to show people that we are manifestors, right? You use the symbolism of the animal and manifest it so that you can learn a lesson. And that's a lovely way to do it. There are much more difficult and harder ways to learn lessons. But with the animals, it's very, it always comes from the heart. And I don't mean the real animal because they might eat you. I'm talking about the symbolism of the animal. They will speak to the heart. If you're ready to hear it, they will give it to you, and then you'll move on. But if you don't get the lesson, it will keep repeating over and over again.
Oh, well, it does. It so does. You know, you see it all the time. And, you know, sometimes we're just not in that headspace to receive it. And that's fine, you know, but it will come back. And I think, you know, there's always that trust there that it will, you know, it will come back and you will get the message, you know, but it's just, we have to be in that right place to receive it. I think that's the most important thing. And I think sometimes as well, like my experience when doing healing on, you know, clients or like using the pendulum and things like that, you know, some people don't want to know the truth.
Yes.
And that's it, you know, and it's a shame because obviously the truth is important, and then when we deal with it, we can move on. But some people
Yes.
just don't like that, and it is, but you know, it is just when our souls are ready. It really, really is.
Like in the movie The Matrix, right? When he wants to be reinserted back in, too much information.
Yeah, overload. Totally, totally. Well, Nadine, you know, what do you want people, you know, to get out of the cards? You know, what when someone gets these, opens them for the first time, you know, what do you want to be going through their head?
First of all, that they're not alone, that we are all connected. And the animals say that over and over again, that whenever you need help, meditate on them, because we do create reality with our thoughts and energy. That is quantum. So when you pick a card and the card is any one of these particular animals, it tells you if you need this energy that we've just shared, I am here for you. And they are there for you when you put your attention to it, when you believe. And they're connected, I feel, to the heart chakra and that energy, this pure love. There's no judgment, no right or wrong. So when you get this deck, I am hoping that A, you don't feel alone, and B, that you feel loved, and that you develop a better relationship with yourself, which is self-love.
Yeah, and it's so important. And I think, you know, that message of, you know, we're not alone. We're not alone. You know, people do feel loneliness all around the world. And it's just that, you know, there's people everywhere. And I always think, you know, if someone is feeling alone, you know, just go and speak to a stranger, go and speak to someone, you know, brighten your day. I think, you know, we love communication, you know, we love speaking to people. We know what a smile can do to us, but what a smile can do to somebody else as well. But it's always so important, and it's simple, but, you know, we forget it so much,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
a shame, you know. But I hope from the pandemic, everything that we've been through over the past year and a half, you know, one thing I think that's beautiful to come out of it is that people have been remembered.
Yes.
You know, I think, you know, neighbors, you know, grandparents, you know, it's that kind of, you know, even though you might go and see your grandparents once every year, but no, actually, I'm going to go and see them, you know, once every week, you know, because you just don't know how long you've got left. And I think relationships will hopefully get stronger from this. That's what I take from it a little bit. I don't know about
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. So to me, if you want to feel better, help someone else. That is my
Yep.
motto: is everybody help one person in need, there'd be no more need.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
one person. Just that's it. And where I live in my town, I adopted 85-year-old half paralyzed man, Black man, because, you know, it's not because I have to. He's just a lovely chap, and I just help him whenever I can. I look at him as another family member.
Yeah.
That's all. If everyone just picked one person, that's all.
It's beautiful. It is. And that's it, isn't it? You know, it's simple. You know, if we could all do that, you know, the world would be a happier place as well. Well, you said before, you know, you maintain 2 galleries as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Let me know all about that.
Well, yeah, I do have a space here in Peekskill. It's called Third Eye Arts, and it's mostly my art and my cards, but I have some other people in here that have Doris Renzer, who has sculptural and craft work and paintings. The other gallery, I actually, because of COVID, don't have the physical space anymore, but I run Zoom meetings for people to feel connected. So I call it a new age support group. It's called Saya. It was called Saya Gallery. I showcased local artists and people that had things that they wanted to share. And I did that for about 8 years, and then COVID hit and I could only really take care of one of them. Yeah. So I had this lovely little space in a little city outside of New York called Peekskill, a little arts community, lovely little town. And I come here to do my work mostly, you know, the smaller work. I do some larger work in my garage, but it's a lovely little town and people are friendly. But I come here during COVID, except for 2 snowstorms, I never missed a day, even when things were closed. This is where I come. It's my energy, and I work and I share, you know, ideas and information with other people. We have a nice little new age community growing here.
Beautiful. We all need that. We all need it because I'm from Manchester in the UK, and we've got like a sector in the city which is called the Northern Quarter. And it's all beautiful kind of independent shops, people's new age business, crystal shops, every little thing there, you know, when we've got like a new age department store, which is called Afflex Palace. And there's like 6 floors, and there's all independent businesses from, you know, from everything, obviously from your hairdressers, but then it's just amazing. But the energy, I love that that's part of the city. It's needed, you know, it's like a leg. You know, Manchester needs that, you know, to be the Manchester, you know, we know. And I love that you've got it, and you're in it as well. You're in the heart of it, which is beautiful.
Thank you. And you're so lucky too.
Yeah.
One day I could get there.
I know, fingers crossed, we will go for lunch. Yes, we will. Well, you know, yourself, Nadine, you know, it's been such a pleasure. But of course, I want to know, what do you love most, you know, about your art, about your intuitive work? You know, what makes you kind of drive every single day? What is it?
Well, it's fascinating. Everyone thinks that you have to study something and learn something. And for me, it's understanding that you don't have to do anything. You just have to allow. And the more I learned that lesson, the more I, you know, got in touch with my intuitive side. So what I love is the fact that, you know, I just, you know, finished this piece here with, it's an oscillated turkey. And what I love is that the person who I did it for, when she came in, she said she did a shamanic journeying and her animal was a turkey. I said, really? So what I love is that it flows through me and I don't question it anymore. I just allow. That's the biggest thing that I want people who are listening to understand. Although it's nice to interact with people, to take courses and to believe in all different programs, that is lovely because there's a reason for you to be there, but it comes from an inner guidance. And ultimately, you don't need anything but allowing your higher self to guide you. So that's been my journey, has been uncovering all the things that prevented me from doing what I'm doing now. You know, whether they're rules, regulations, people, you know, not to listen unless it's a positive message. I don't listen. And that's what I hope people understand. There are so many reasons why negativity is floating around. And not that I started out making decks that are from the heart and positive, but it's needed because when you hear a negative voice in your head, that is not coming from your higher self. And you have to protect yourself.
Really do, really do. Well, Nadine Gordon-Taylor, you've been an absolute pleasure. I mean, Animal Love Oracle cards, they're out right now. Every single person in the world needs these because we all love animals. but to really build that connection. I've got to say thank you so much for your time. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. You know, would have done this without these. You know, it really, really has been an absolute pleasure. So you look after yourself, but thank you so much from my heart.
You too. So nice to meet you. Take care.